Okay, this video will show you how to set up a WireGuard VPN server. This is useful to connect to a public server you want to host this in the cloud, or in my case, I want to host this server at home so I can access home resources using the VPN that's on my phone, hosted through this server. To do this, you'll need an Ubuntu server, so my home PC here is just running a VM called Docker and Hyper-V. If I connect to this, it's just running Ubuntu 18.04.5. Once you've installed this, you'll just need to install Docker. There's loads of tutorials on how to install an Ubuntu server and set a static address, and how to install Docker as well. Once you've done that, I recommend using Portainer for web UI management of containers. If you go to portainer.io/installation, scroll down to Portainer running within Docker. You want to copy this out, which I've got here, and then just modify this slightly because there is a conflict with this. The WireGuard container runs on port 8000. Portainer doesn't actually require this, so we can just backspace all of this out. There we go. If I now copy that, I've got a connection open to my Docker server. I'll just paste that in. That'll pull the image and start it, which is already done. If I now browse to the web page, there we go. I just need to log in with my insecure credentials, which yours should be much more secure. Connect to my local stack and containers. So I've got a WireGuard one there for testing. Let's remove that for this example. Next thing I want to do is go to stacks, add a stack, and we'll call it WireGuard. And from here, there's a link in the description to my GitLab page with the Docker WireGuard VPN server and the config for it. If you just copy the file contents and paste it into here, I'm just going to remove this last bit at the end. You will need to configure this, but obviously these volumes won't exist straight away, so first thing I'm going to do is just deploy this. And that's now deployed. If I look at containers, that'll be running. I've also set up File Browser, which is handy. You can just CD to it on your Ubuntu server if you want to, but I just like this because it's easy for web management. If I now refresh the page, I'll have a folder called WireGuard. Then inside here, obviously there's client config, and data. If I go into config, has it created config.yaml? It has, but it's made it as a folder. So I'm going to delete that and do a new file called config.yml. Inside here is where we'll need to specify our config for this. So if we go back to Portainer and go back to the stacks, in the comments under WireGuard and edit, this is the config we'll need to set here. So if I copy this out, paste it in, and just remove the comments, so WireGuard, there should be 2 spaces there, yeah. So external hostname, again for yours you do myhostname.net or whatever it is. I'm using Dinu DNS for mine, so you can use any free DDNS provider and just set up DDNS, so it'll just automatically update your address. So put in your whatever your hostname is in there, so like say myhostname.net, so if you bought one, put it in there. And then the private key, you'll need to generate a key using WireGuard. To do that, we just go to the container, WireGuard, console, and then just connect. That should connect, it does. And then the command is just wg gen key. So I'm just going to paste that in, and that gives us a key. Obviously I'm not going to use this, and you shouldn't share this with anyone because this is your private key. Once you go back here, clear all this down, and paste in your key, and then save. So that's your config now done. If we go back to our stacks and edit the WireGuard stack, again down at the bottom, so we've got the container WireGuard, the image is place1's WireGuard access server image. We're going to restart unless stopped, so if the container crashes it will automatically restart unless we stop it on purpose. The volumes it's mapping, again as we saw, and it's doing the config file as read only. The ports it's exposing are port 8000 for web management of the container, and port 51820 for the VPN. So I've just got a rubbish Virgin router at home, and it's just a standard 192.168.0/24 network. So my server's on .112, so all I need to do is just go to the router admin page, go to the firewall settings, and do a port forward on there so that incoming connections on UDP port 51820 are forwarded to this server. Cap as netadmin for your network config and the tunnel device on the server itself. Private key, again, we'll need to paste that in there. So it's got the private key file, which it can read from there, but best to paste in here as well. Config's using config.yaml, and this is the admin login for the web UI. It will use forms-based authentication, so I'm choosing admin and password for mine, but if you want to do a randomly generated password in there, you can. Just paste it in. Now that's done, we're going to update the stack, which should now redeploy the container, which it has. If I now duplicate this and go to port 8000, I'll get a page like this. If I hit basic, username is admin, password is password, and now we can add devices. So let's say you want to add your phone. So I've got calendar just showing it now, so I was doing it with one of my friends. So if I just type in phone and hit add, literally couldn't be any easier. So you can install the WireGuard app for Linux, Mac, Windows. Just select whichever one you want, and it will just point you to where you can download it from. Then you just download the connection file, which just downloads a WireGuard config file, and then you can just import it. For your phone, just click on phone, scan the QR code, and it will work from there. So for a realistic working example, because obviously I've set this up with a fake host name and this port isn't forwarded on there, on my home production one, from here, if I go to WireGuard, I've got phone, which was connected about an hour ago. If I now go on my phone and open up the WireGuard app and then connect to the VPN, I then just browse to Google and just search for IP address, and that returns my public IP address from home. Dead simple, dead easy to set up. If I refresh this page as well, it might take a second or so. I think you have to send some traffic through. I refresh a web page or something like that, and there you go. Obviously this is blurred out to blur out my public address, but you can see how much traffic I've sent up and down, and it works perfectly. If I decide that this device is compromised, or I don't want to use it anymore, I can just select here and delete it. So if you've got some files at home you want to give someone access to temporarily, you can just add in, Steve or whoever, click add, and then if he's got a phone, send him the QR code. If he's using it on a different device, just send him the connection file. Really simple, really easy to set up, and only one port is required for it. So I hope this was helpful, and if you've got any feedback or comments, please drop a comment below and I'll try and read them all. Thanks for watching.